What if everything you thought you knew about Jesus was just the tip of the iceberg? What if the greatest story ever told is missing the most profound secrets? Secrets hidden for millennia about his mysterious 24 disciples, the lost years in the East, and his spiritual training under the legendary Mahavatar Babaji. You've heard of the crucifixion, but was Jesus really crucified? And what about the resurrection? What really happened? For over 2,000 years, these mysteries have remained buried until now. The truth is stranger than fiction, and today we're diving deep into the esoteric journey of Jesus like you've never heard before. But here's the catch. You won't find this in your Sunday school textbooks. This is the real story, the hidden teachings, lost for centuries, now revealed. So if you're ready to uncover what the world wasn't meant to know, keep watching. But be warned, you may never see Jesus the same way again. We often think of Jesus as a prophet or the Son of God. But what if Jesus was much more? What if he was an ascended master, a spiritual guru who reached the highest levels of enlightenment? 1. The 12 male and 12 female disciples, the full circle of Christ's teachings. While traditional accounts emphasize Jesus' 12 male apostles, deeper and more secretive traditions speak of 12 additional female disciples, bringing the total number to 24. This group of 24 is often overlooked but represents the balance of masculine and feminine energies, which is essential for spiritual wholeness. In the ancient mystery traditions, numbers such as 12, 24 and 144 carry great spiritual significance, often related to cosmic cycles, sacred geometry, and the balance of the divine, feminine and masculine principles. His teachings weren't just about salvation in the afterlife. Jesus was showing us the path to spiritual awakening, the realization of divine consciousness, what we call Christ consciousness. And here's where it gets really interesting. Jesus didn't just teach 12 disciples. In secret traditions, he taught 24, 12 men and 12 women. You've heard of Peter, John and James, but what about Mary Magdalene, Joanna and Martha? The 12 female disciples. The role of the 12 female disciples was deeply important to Jesus' teachings, though their influence was largely suppressed in later ecclesiastical structures that prioritized male leadership. However, in the Gnostic texts and other esoteric sources, the significance of these women comes to light. Mary Magdalene was undoubtedly the most prominent of Jesus' female disciples. In many esoteric circles, she is considered to be Jesus' spiritual counterpart, not just a follower, but a partner in disseminating the highest mystical teachings. Mary Magdalene had a deep understanding of Jesus' mission, and some traditions even hold that she carried on his most esoteric teachings after his departure from the physical plane. The Gospel of Mary portrays her as having intimate knowledge of the mysteries of the soul's ascent, suggesting she was the recipient of secret teachings. Martha and Mary of Bethany are often seen as two other close female disciples. Their roles went beyond the superficial portrayals in mainstream texts, as they were considered keepers of esoteric knowledge. Martha, representing action and service, and Mary of Bethany, embodying devotion and contemplation, symbolized the balanced approach to the spiritual path. Joanna and Susanna, though mentioned briefly in the Bible, were likely key figures in the spiritual community that formed around Jesus. Joanna in particular is believed to have had significant influence, representing an initiatory role, as her name in Hebrew means God is gracious. These women were likely the keepers of the sacred feminine mysteries, teachings that honored the power of the divine feminine, spiritual intuition, and inner wisdom. The existence of these women points to a more inclusive and balanced spiritual path that Jesus promoted, far beyond the patriarchal structures that later developed. The symbolism of 24 disciples. In ancient mystical traditions, the number 24 carries powerful symbolism, often representing cosmic order and completeness. In Jesus' case, his 24 disciples, 12 men and 12 women, mirrored the cosmic balance, representing a union of opposites that was central to his teachings about spiritual transformation and unity with the divine. This balance is also reflected in many esoteric systems, such as the Kabbalah and the teachings of the Essenes, both of which influence Jesus' path. One, Jesus' lost years, his spiritual training in India, Tibet and Egypt. From age 12 to 30, the Bible is silent about Jesus' life, leaving a significant gap in the story. However, various esoteric traditions suggest that Jesus spent these years traveling through the East, seeking spiritual enlightenment from the greatest spiritual masters of the time. His travels to India, Tibet and Egypt, where he is said to have studied the ancient wisdom of the Vedas, Buddhism and the Egyptian mystery schools, provided him with the knowledge he later shared during his ministry. Jesus in India and Tibet. Ancient records, including the Hemis manuscript found in a Tibetan monastery, suggest that Jesus, known as Isa in these accounts, traveled through India and Tibet, learning from sages and masters of the time. In India, it is said that he studied the Vedas, learning about the nature of the soul, karma, reincarnation, and the path to enlightenment. He is believed to have mastered yogic practices, including the control of prana, life force energy, and meditation techniques designed to awaken Kundalini, the divine energy within. During his time in Tibet, Jesus may have studied with Buddhist monks, learning the principles of compassion, detachment, and non-duality. His teachings on forgiveness, humility, and inner peace align closely with Buddhist principles, suggesting that his time in the East deeply influenced his later teachings in the West. Jesus and the Egyptian mysteries. Egypt had long been a center of esoteric knowledge, particularly through its mystery schools, which taught the secrets of the soul's journey through death and rebirth, alchemy, and the hidden laws of the universe. Jesus is said to have studied these teachings, particularly in Heliopolis, where he would have been initiated into the Hermetic and alchemical traditions. The wisdom of the Egyptian mysteries was integral to Jesus' later ability to perform miracles, heal, and raise the dead, all of which were seen as symbolic of spiritual alchemy, the transformation of the soul. And now, the most astonishing revelation of all. 1. Mahavatar Babaji, the Master of Masters and Jesus' spiritual guide. One of the most compelling aspects of Jesus' spiritual journey is the suggestion that he studied under Mahavatar Babaji, the great yogi master who has guided humanity's spiritual evolution for thousands of years. According to yogic traditions, Babaji is an immortal being who exists in a state of divine consciousness, manifesting on earth to guide select individuals towards spiritual enlightenment. It is believed that during Jesus' time in India, he sought out Mahavatar Babaji in the Himalayas. Babaji, known for his mastery over life and death, would have initiated Jesus into the highest spiritual teachings, including Kriya Yoga, a form of yoga designed to accelerate spiritual growth by purifying the mind and body through the conscious control of breath and energy, prana. This training would have been essential for Jesus' later ability to perform miracles and, most notably, transcend death itself. Through Babaji's guidance, Jesus would have learned the secrets of spiritual resurrection, the ability to transcend the physical body and merge with the divine. Babaji's teachings on the immortality of the soul and the laws of the universe would have empowered Jesus to fulfill his mission of demonstrating the eternal nature of life and the unity of all souls with God. But here's the question: was Jesus really crucified? The crucifixion of Jesus is one of the central tenets of Christian doctrine, but from an esoteric perspective, the event holds deeper spiritual symbolism. Some spiritual traditions suggest that Jesus did not physically die on the cross, but entered into a deep meditative state, a form of samadhi that allowed him to transcend physical pain and appear dead to those around him. This technique, learned from the yogic and Egyptian mystery schools, would have enabled Jesus to lower his body's vital signs to such a degree that he was perceived as dead. 1. Did Jesus rise from death or reincarnate? The resurrection, as traditionally understood in Christianity, is seen as a miraculous return to physical life. However, esoteric teachings suggest that Jesus' resurrection may not have been a literal reanimation of the body, but rather a demonstration of his mastery over life and death. In some traditions, it is believed that Jesus entered a state of spiritual ascension, transforming his physical body into a higher, more ethereal form. In this view, Jesus' resurrection was symbolic of the spiritual process of rebirth, where the soul transcends the ego and becomes one with the divine source. Some believe that Jesus reincarnated into another body, continuing his spiritual mission on earth, while others hold that he fully ascended, merging with the Christ consciousness and becoming one with the cosmic Christ energy. So what does all of this mean for you? Jesus wasn't just showing us the way 2,000 years ago, he's showing us the way now. The path to enlightenment, to Christ consciousness, to the awakening of your own divine potential is within you. This knowledge has been hidden for too long, but now it's time to awaken. If you're ready to dive deeper into the hidden truth about Jesus and unlock the mysteries that have been kept secret for centuries, then subscribe to our channel now. Don't miss out on the next video, where we reveal even more untold stories that will change the way you see history, spirituality, and your own soul. Jesus and the path to spiritual awakening understanding. Jesus, as an ascended master and spiritual guru, unlocks a deeper, more universal understanding of his mission on earth. His teachings were not limited to one religious tradition, but were part of a global and cosmic path towards spiritual enlightenment. By recognizing the hidden wisdom in his life, his travels to the East, his interaction with Mahavatar Babaji, and his balanced approach to spiritual discipleship, we can begin to awaken to the same divine potential within ourselves. Jesus was the embodiment of the Christ consciousness, a state of unity with the divine that all beings can achieve through spiritual discipline, inner transformation, and the awakening of the soul. His message, then, was not simply about salvation, but about self-realization, the recognition that the kingdom of heaven is within each of us, waiting to be discovered. Jesus knew the truth, and now it's your time to discover it. Will you take the next step? Subscribe, like, share.